Okay, so I just need to point out something that really bothers me about a lot of these disabled support groups that I've gone to, or these disabled social groups, and that has to do with ignorance and people defending people ignoring other people when it's an indefensible act. So here's let's just go over what usually happens when I go to a group and I try to fit in. I'm dealing with lots of personal issues, so I go there. I post some of them thinking, well, this group should understand more than anyone else because they've probably dealt with them too. I get wholly ignored almost. I get mad at that, especially since it tends to be a trend where I get fully ignored, and it's not just, one time it happens, but every time it's usually better. No, I get fully ignored. And I get tired of it and I call it out and say, this is not appropriate. You cannot be ignoring people like this when they're talking about serious things. Then people start talking, but they start attacking me and saying, well, you can't get on people. They're busy. They have lives. Yeah, that excuse is never responding at all. Trying to just trying to normalize this behavior, trying to justify it, act like somehow it's okay because when really it's sort of like, stealing money from a blind old lady. It's not, there's no sometimes it's okay because it's never okay. And it's like just trying to justify it. I also had one person claim that, since you demanded me, I don't want to do it now. It's like, well, you weren't going to do it anyways, right? Like, let's be real. You weren't going to do it anyways, so you have no room to talk. And then people are like accusing me like, well, you need to contribute more. You don't contribute. Well, yeah, because this is what always happens when I try. I get ignored. I don't like being ignored. It's rude. And it doesn't tend to make me want to contribute in the future. And especially when you're just blaming me for doing what anyone would do there, right? I mean, who wouldn't pull away if a group's constantly ignoring them? And then you blame the person for pulling away instead of the group for setting a toxic mentality. And then they're like, well, and one person's also like, if you reach out more and you do that, they'd be more likely. Well, yeah, well, now I don't really care to reach out because you people clearly don't care about me. Now, do you? You've made it clear how much you care about me. And I don't tend to care a lot about people who don't care, who make it clear they have no capacity to care for anyone but themselves. And of course, their brother, the toilet guy 911. This is the problem I've had. And I've had so many groups pull this exact same routine. And I never get what I want. And it always leaves me feeling angry, hurt, frustrated, and like I've been shunned by the very group that should accept me more than anyone else. That's part of why I made a video a while ago on another channel saying I'm done with this community, because it's like, this is what always happens. You try to reach out and lean on anyone for support, and they just never give it. Sometimes they just don't feel like it. Other times they actually make you feel worse. Like they go out of their way to make you feel worse and attack you. I mean, I can list like 4 different groups that this shit's happened in the past like couple years. There was reaching out on a Brony Discord group, posting things that bothered me. No one responded and it got buried repeatedly. And when I called it out, people would defend it. Oh, everyone's busy, trying to normalize this behavior as if it's okay, when no, that's what needs to change, not my attitude towards it. Then there was also a disabled social group near where I lived. I tried posting and people would ignore me. And then I tried posting something serious and people changed the subject to something else almost immediately and never acknowledged it. So I said, what the heck, guys? That's not appropriate. You can't be doing that. That's very rude. I don't like that. And then the group leader starts attacking me. Oh, well, there you go. Just make it excuse. Don't start shit in the chat. Oh, we can handle this in private. It's like, you don't even care that someone got excluded under your nose. You just care about keeping this image of a good group for everyone presented. Even instead of actually having a good group, you just care about the image of the good group. Then there was another one. There was, trying to think, like there was film fiction, trying to write stories about things that I was dealing with in past traumas, and then people ignore me and vote bomb me. And when I get fed up with that type of treatment and say, I deserve better than this, I'm tired of putting all this time and effort in, and people can't even take 5 seconds to comment or to even tell me why they don't like it. They just keep passively vote bombing me and shutting me out. Then I'm the bad guy, and people are like, oh, well, you don't let the door hit you on the way out. You got what you deserve. It's just, and then recently, I posted a video, was ignored, and the subject was changed. No response at all. So I comment, okay, that's strike 1. If this happens 3 times, I think I'm just going to leave. And then everyone starts attacking me. One's like, oh, well, if you don't, since you got aggressive about it, I don't even want to do it. It's like, well, you probably weren't going to do it anyway, so what's your point, Another one's like, well, you don't really have a right to complain. You never contribute. Yeah, because this is, As you can see, this is the freaking rule in these groups. I'm apprehensive to contribute because I'm tired of being ignored and ganged up upon. And then what happens when I do break through that fear? The same crap happens again. And you don't seem to understand why I'm apprehensive and why I don't want to contribute. You need to get your head out of your ass, okay? That's what you need to do. And learn the whole facts before you start pointing fingers at people. And then there's also the fact that, like, some people are like, well, I think one of them made an accusation of, oh, well, you need to contribute more for people to care. Yeah, well, no, it's not my job as the guest to demand to do chores around the house at a party for the host to treat me right. The host is supposed to treat me right and make me feel comfortable, and then I can give back more later. That's how it works. It doesn't work the other way around. It's not the guest's job to build a good rapport. It's the host's job to make a good environment so they feel comfortable doing things and staying around. And you failed that job as a host. Your community has failed that job as a host community. And again, you want me to give a crap about what other people think and what other people do? Well, here's a good way not to do it. Ignore me. I don't care really what happens to people who ignore me, because they've made it clear they don't care about what happens to me. So why should I care about them when I can care about other people who actually have the capacity to think of someone besides themselves for a microsecond? You see what I'm saying? You see how that works? You want me to care about you, make a welcoming environment, and give me proof that you care about me too. Otherwise, you're acting entitled and asking for things when you don't give them in return. And that's just not fair. So yeah, this is a massive problem I've had with a lot of these disabled groups, and I'm just so sick of it. It needs to change. And people need to stop shooting the messenger, which is me, when I have the balls to say this is a problem and it needs to change. Like, again, why would you ever go back to a group if you just get ganged up upon when you mention how inappropriate others are behaving and others act like, well, if you have that attitude, I'm not going to give you what you want. Well, you didn't give me what I wanted anyway, so I needed to get that attitude to even get noticed in the first place. So maybe instead of acting like I'm the problem and acting like you don't have anything wrong with what you're doing, think that maybe you're not perfect and start improving yourself. You know, this is not how a community you want. If that's the type of community that you want to have, I don't want any part of it. And I'm not going to care about what happens to it or its members, because they don't care about what happens to me. I mean, literally, they don't care. They don't care. So why should I care about them? It goes both ways. You want others to care about you, you got to stop caring about only yourself. And it's sad too, because what always ends up happening is I always end up never getting the support that I've craved for so long. Thankfully, offline has started to cover it a little bit more lately, so it's not as critical, but still, like, I'm not getting the support I need. And I'm still left hurt, and I'm sure there's other people in my shoes who are reaching out and just want people to listen for once and give them some support to where they have and help them recover to the point where maybe they actually can give back. Part of why I don't give as much might be because I'm too burned out to give anything anymore. But no one ever does that. And then when you're too burned out to do it, then they accuse you of being selfish or not trying, or, oh, well, you shouldn't be treating others that way. They don't owe you anything. But yeah, like, I'm too burned out, and my tolerance of being ignored and not getting the support I need is gone. At some point, I do need to get that support, and I do need to get that love and, caring. And if I don't get it, I'm going to get mad, because that's not too much to ask. If even one person had consistently replied, it doesn't have to be the whole server, but if one person or two had consistently replied to these posts, I wouldn't be making this video. But no one ever does reply. And then everyone's like, oh, they're busy. Yeah, so that it excuses every single member who could have replied but chose not to. Give me a break. Yeah, this is a massive problem with these groups, and I'm just so done. I am just so tired of dealing with it. I deserve better. Everyone deserves better than this. And if this is how your groups run, you need to think a lot about how it's run and how the people act, and you need to make some serious changes. But no one ever will, right? No one ever actually listens to me.